In this video, we're going to be talking about how you can get Prime Warframes and weapons for free. So the Prime items in Warframe are enhanced versions of their counterparts. So a Prime Warframe often has additional polarity slots, and then a Prime weapon usually has like increased stats or other advantages versus its counterparts. But it's very important to point out here that you cannot obtain all Prime items for free all of the time. So some of the Prime Warframes and weapons are vaulted. So what this means is that you cannot currently obtain them from relics that can be obtained from the star chart. However, the vaulted items are periodically unvaulted, and you can get those items from the NPC Varzia, and we'll talk about that more towards the end of the video. So the primary method of obtaining Prime Warframes and weapons is by cracking Void Relics, and you can also obtain Forma blueprints by this same method. So a Void Relic is simply an item you receive during certain missions while playing Warframe. We'll talk a little bit more about how to get these Void Relics here in just a moment. And once you have a Void Relic, you can run a Void Fissure mission and use that relic. You can easily find a Void Fissure mission just by going to your navigation console, looking up at the top of the navigation bar, and then clicking on the Void Fissure option. This is going to show you a menu of all the currently available Void Fissure missions. From here, you're just going to select the mission you want to run that matches your Void Relic type. For example, if you have a Lith Relic, you will select a mission that says Lith Fissure. Once you select the mission, you can choose which relic you wish to use, and at this menu, you can click on a specific relic to see the possible rewards from that relic. So the rewards are listed in order of rarity. So for example, you have a higher chance to receive all of the bronze rewards that are listed here within this bronze tier. And then you will have a smaller chance to receive the items listed here in the silver tier. And then you have the least chance to receive the items here in this gold tier. However, you can increase those odds as your Void Relic refinement station in your orbiter, which we'll also discuss here in just a moment. So now, once you have decided on the relic you wish to use, you simply choose the Equip for Mission option to proceed with your mission. And then once you're inside the mission, you will need to successfully complete it in order to receive your rewards from the relic. So the mission that you're in works just like any other normal mission, but along with completing that mission, you're going to need to also collect these things called reactant to crack the relic. So cracking your relic simply means you have obtained enough reactant to receive the reward from that relic. If you don't obtain enough reactant before you extract, you're not going to receive the relic rewards. So in order to gather reactant, you're going to need to kill corrupted enemies within the mission. So the corrupted enemies killed within a Void Fissure mission is going to drop the reactant. Make sure you pick that reactant up. And then the reactant, you'll see it on your screen. It's going to be displayed like an icon that looks like the Void Fissure mission. Once you've collected 10 reactant, your relic is going to crack. At this point, you can then safely extract from the mission as long as you've done all the other mission requirements. And if you're playing solo and you've collected 10 reactant and successfully extracted, you are then going to be rewarded with one of the relic rewards at random. However, if you're playing in a group and members of your group also have a Void Relic active for the mission, you're going to be able to choose their rewards versus yours. So be aware that you have limited time to choose, so make your decision pretty quickly. Farming relics in a group is pretty ideal if you're trying to farm for a specific part, because this will increase your odds at getting that part. Just make sure everyone in the group is utilizing the appropriate relic for the part that you are trying to obtain. So there's a few different types of Void Relics in the game, and they're divided into 4 tiers. So the higher tier the relic, the higher the value and difficulty. So the tiers in ascending order are as follows. There are Lith Relics, Meso Relics, Neo Relics, and Axii Relics. There's several different types of relics within each tier, and each type of relic has its own reward table that consists of Forma blueprints and Prime components and blueprints. You can check out all of the relics on the Warframe wiki for a complete list of every type of Void Relic and their associated rewards. So I mentioned earlier that there is a system in the game that you can upgrade your relics to have a chance at the higher tier rewards within that relic. So the silver and the gold rewards that you get from a particular relic. So in order to be able to do this, you first need to unlock what's called your Relic Refinement Station in your orbiter. So in order to unlock this Void Relic Refinement Station, you're just going to need to complete the Mars Junction. This junction is located on Earth, and once you complete this junction, you will be rewarded with the Void Relic segment. You're then going to make your way to the Void Relic Refinement Station, install the segment in order to activate this station. The station is located just right beside your arsenal in your orbiter. And then once you activate this, you can use the station. Whenever you use the station, you're going to be able to view all of the relics you currently own, as well as click on those relics to see their associated rewards. However, more importantly at this station, you can use the Refine Radiant option to improve the quality of a particular relic. Higher quality relics have a better chance at the rarer items within that relic. This means the more you upgrade the relic, the better chance you have at receiving a silver or gold tier item from that relic. In order to improve a Void Relic, you're going to need to obtain these things called Void Traces. And once you have enough, you can use those to upgrade the relic. So also as a side note here, you can also use the search bar within the Void Relic Refinement Station to search for a specific Warframe or a specific weapon. Whenever you do this, it's going to bring up all the relics you have that contain parts for that particular item, so you can see which relic you're going to need to equip for a mission or that particular piece that you're searching for. So if you are trying to upgrade a relic and you need these Void Traces to do this, you're going to need to find them somewhere. So the Void Traces are primarily obtained by collecting reactant during the Void Fissure missions. And as we mentioned before, the reactant drops from the corrupted enemies within that mission. So you're going to receive anywhere from 6 to 30 Void Traces once you have collected 10 reactant. So essentially you need to collect enough reactant to crack the relic, and then you'll be rewarded with Void Traces as well. It's important to point out here though that you do not have to have a Void Relic equipped in order to obtain Void Traces, but your Void Traces do have an upper limit of how many you can stockpile, so be aware of your cap. You can view how many you own and what your cap is at the Void Relic Refinement Station. You can increase that cap by increasing your mastery rank. If you reach your cap, any excess Void Traces are going to be lost, so make sure you keep an eye on the cap of your Void Traces. You can also obtain Void Traces when players select your Void Relic reward when you're in a group. So for every player that selects your reward, excluding yourself, you're going to receive 5 Void Traces. This means you can get up to an additional 15 traces in a mission if all 3 other players in your group select your Void Relic reward. So now that you know what Void Relics are and how to use them, you're probably wondering how you get more of these so that you can start stockpiling on Prime parts. Well, Void Relics can be obtained from various mission types. So completing any Void mission guarantees 1 relic or Aya. We'll talk a little bit more about Aya here in just a moment, but it does tie in to farming additional Prime parts. So we're going to take a quick look at studioloot.com, where there is a list of suggested farming locations to obtain each type of Void Relic. You can, of course, also reference the wiki for a ton more information about relics, but here's a nice guide for you guys if you just wish to have your information in guide form. And again, I'll make sure to link this down in the description below. So now that you're farming a ton of relics, you're doing a lot of missions and getting a lot of Prime parts, you're going to be getting a lot of duplicate parts. So what do you do with all of those duplicate parts? Well, you're going to want to make sure you hang on to these, because your Prime parts can be exchanged for a currency called Ducats. In order to get the Ducats, you can travel to any relay and find what's called a Ducat kiosk. So whenever you interact with this kiosk, you're going to be able to see all of the Prime parts you currently own, and you can hover over each item to see how many Ducats you'll receive for that item. Make sure you don't sell any item you don't want to have to farm again, because once you sell it for Ducats, it's gone, and it's then converted into Ducat currency, and you'll have to go farm it again using a relic. The Ducat currency is important because it's the only currency that can be used to trade with Barrow Ketir. This is a special vendor that only makes an appearance in the game every 2 weeks. Once he visits a relay, he's going to remain there for 48 hours with an offering of items that changes every time he visits. You can utilize your Ducats to trade with him to obtain some cosmetics, some primed mods, weapons, and a whole lot more. So the Ducats are pretty important. Make sure you save those. Wait for Barrow Ketir to make his appearance at a relay, and then go spend those Ducats for the items that you want to get. So now we have another method of obtaining Prime parts, and this method is by visiting a vendor named Varzia in Maru's Bazaar. So you can easily get to Varzia by choosing the Visit Varzia option when you're interacting with your Void Relic Refinement Station on your orbiter. Varzia accepts 2 different types of currencies in exchange for her wares. So I told you earlier we would talk about Aya near the end of the video. Well, this is it. So Aya is a currency that can be farmed in the game, and then we also have what's called Regal Aya. That is a premium currency that you can purchase with real money. So Aya can be farmed from Void missions and by completing bounties. You can view the complete drop table over at the wiki, and you can see exactly where to get Aya and your percentage of getting that resource. And the most notable thing you can purchase with Aya are the vaulted Void Relics. So there's certain Prime Warframes and weapons that are placed into the vault, as we mentioned at the top of the video. And you can see which ones are vaulted and which ones are currently farmable by using the link down in the description below. That'll take you over to the wiki. You'll be able to see a complete list. So these vaulted items are rotated periodically. You can see the next offering of vaulted Warframes by visiting Varzia, and the Void Relics that you can purchase with Aya contain parts of the vaulted items. These work just like normal Void Relics, but the only way to obtain them is by purchasing them with Aya from the vendor Varzia. Alternatively, you can purchase Regal Aya with real money, and you can then simply purchase the Prime Warframe and weapons without having to farm the components and craft them in the foundry. So in a nutshell, if you're looking to farm Prime parts and Warframes, you're going to want to use the Void Relics and then go run the Void Fissure missions. You're not going to be able to obtain every Prime Warframe and weapon in the game because some of those are going to be vaulted. The vaulted versions are going to rotate out periodically, and then if you want to get a vaulted version, you need to go visit Varzia, and then you can either use Aya to get more relics that are vaulted for those specific Prime Warframes and weapons. You can go farm them out like you normally would, or you can purchase them just outright using the Regal Aya currency. So that's how you get Prime Warframes and weapons in Warframe. If you enjoy Warframe or enjoyed this content, please make sure to like and subscribe. I greatly appreciate that. This is one part of the beginner series that I've been working my way through. We have a lot more videos to come going over some of the beginner stuff in Warframe. So if you're just starting your journey, please make sure to tune in because we are going to have a lot more beginner videos for you. That's going to do it for this one, boys and girls. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I also stream over on twitch.tv at twitch.tv/BDLG every single Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at about 8 o'clock a.m. CST. Would love to see you come hang out over there. We have an absolute great time. It is super fun. That's going to do it for this one, boys and girls. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.